Rampage was an arcade smash from the now defunct Midway back in 1986. I remember playing it for hours on end with two of my buddies. The premise was simple: plop in a quarter, select one of three monsters, and go about destroying what appeared to be a never-ending onslaught of cities. The three monsters at your disposal were George the Giant Gorilla, clearly copying King Kong; Lizzie, a giant lizard, you guessed it, an homage to Godzilla; and Ralph, a giant werewolf. The arcade cabinet was unique for its time because it supported 3 players at once, and I recall having a blast destroying building after building with my friends. A key highlight was when your health ran out, which happened a lot because pretty much everything and everyone was shooting at you. You would transform back into a human, and get this, your friends could actually eat you for a little health increase. I always thought that was absolutely hysterical. So that's pretty much Rampage in a nutshell. You climb buildings, beat them up, beat on your friends, eat people, and don't eat hazards like yucky, dirty bathwater. Ew! And then you move on to the next city where you do it all over again. It's all in good cartoon fun and remains addictive even though it's repetitive. The game goes on and on and on in what seems like an endless loop, but it does actually end, although you'd have to spend ages going through each level in order to see that ending. This Master System port was released in 1988 by Activision, and I always remember it being vastly superior to the NES port. Can you believe the NES port only had 2 playable characters? This Master System version has 3 playable characters, features vastly superior graphics and sound. Sure, it pales in comparison to many other Master System games, but it remains fun to play, at least in short bursts. The biggest problem with the graphics is that every single stage looks like the last. You have no way of knowing which city you're in just by looking at the stage itself, because the designs are pretty much all the same. Sure, there's new colors that come into play and things like that as you advance, but that's about as far as things go in terms of change. As for the audio, the music is catchy, especially that end stage jingle. I love that actually, and the sound effects do a decent job. There are some control issues though, mainly because the D-pad on the Master System controller isn't ideal. You'll notice that sometimes I have a hard time climbing up the side of a building. That's not me, that's the controller. But that's where a Genesis pad comes into play. If you recall, the Master System will accept Genesis controllers, so go ahead and play the game that way. The best part of Rampage is playing with a friend, and as you can see, I have no friends. When I recorded this, I was all by my lonesome, but that doesn't really matter. If you really want to play this game and get the most enjoyment from it, you absolutely have to play it with a friend. It makes the later stages much easier, and it's a blast punching each other while you make your way through the game. Steven and I do this all the time in modern games, but this is the game where it all started for me and my friends. Rampage is mindless fun in incredibly short bursts. Playing for longer than 20 minutes grows old very, very quickly because of similar graphics and repetitive gameplay. However, the fun you'll have fighting a friend makes it all worthwhile. I mean, there's nothing like it. Climbing up the side of a building, then jumping and punching your friend in the face. It's classic. If you have a Master System and are looking for a good game to play with a buddy, you could do a lot worse than Rampage.